on the second and Golden Miller are fighting out a tremendous race. Over the last fence, the Miller nearest the camera has a slight lead. Though Speck presses home on the second, Golden Miller proves the stronger horse. It's a great triumph for that great steeplechaser, Golden Miller.
It'd be fair to say he's the horse that probably put the Gold Cup, the sport's most iconic and most famous race, on the map. Andre Klein, I'm the assistant general manager here at Cheltenham Racecourse, which I think is the greatest racecourse in the world. And I've been a fan of the sport for my whole life. Love the history and the heritage of it. I'm madly caught up in the day-to-day of it, and have obviously a keen fixation on the future of the sport as well. Golden Miller he's definitely one of the icons of horse racing. His career was in the 1930s, which is the heyday for the sport. It was also the middle of the Depression, when everyone had a fixation on horse racing. The race started in 1924, and very early on in its history, you had a horse, Golden Miller, who came along. He won the Gold Cup 5 times in succession, which is an incredible achievement. It will probably never be beaten. He's the only horse to have won the Gold Cup and the Grand National in the same year. Racing was in its heyday, 1930s, and he's a total legend for all horse racing fans. Golden Miller, he really moved the sport from the back pages to the front pages of the newspaper, and became the fans' favourite.
This is the car that brought me to Brooklands. It's a 1938 Alta, supercharged, runs on methanol. It's about 250 horsepower, massive torque. It's capable of about 148 miles an hour, and it was owned by my uncle. Once I'd been to see this car and I was absolutely amazed by the technology, I then looked around the museum and I couldn't believe that they were timing cars to 1,000th of a second in 1907. And at that time, I thought it would make an amazing British heritage watch brand. I'm Simon Jeffs, the founder and owner of Brooklands Watch Company. I was really excited when the Jockey Club approached us to produce a special watch to celebrate Golden Miller. One of the most important things is our joint heritage, and the joint heritage runs through the owner of Golden Miller, a lady called Dorothy Paget, who inherited an awful lot of money on her 21st birthday. Her first interest was generally fast cars. And then she went back to her first love, which is horse racing, and bought 2 incredible horses. Dorothy used to love betting, and she bet £10,000 that he would win the Gold Cup in 1934, £10,000 he would win the Grand National, and £10,000 he'd win both. And I think she won the equivalent of about £3.5 million today on those bets. She was a great support for motor racing and horse racing.
Hi, Andre.
I think everybody loves to have a little bit of racing heritage, or they need to have something that links them to the superfans of their sport. You know, we see shirts on walls and what have you in people's houses, and it's difficult with horse racing, but because only the one set of colours. But at the racecourse here, you know, we've got these pieces of memorabilia, like the shoes of Golden Miller's shoes or his trophies. And I thought, how cool would it be, how amazing would it be for the fans of the sport to have access to that tiny little bit of racing heritage that they could carry around with them. Every horse carries 4 horseshoes, and we happen to have all 4 of Golden Miller's from one of his Gold Cup wins here. And they normally sit on display in the Hall of Fame, along with his trophies and other horse racing artefacts. It was a really difficult decision, you know, for us to say, do we take one of these 4 remaining horseshoes and put them into, or try and develop them into a component of a watch?
I expected something made of wrought iron. I really didn't expect a tiny little super light aluminium alloy horseshoe. The shoe was really precious, so It was never posted anywhere. It was always hand carried.
Yeah, failure was it was never discussed as an option. We were going to make sure that we got a brilliant end product from taking the risk we did with that horseshoe.
So the watch is called the Golden Miller Racing Chronograph Limited Edition, and it's limited to 100 watches. It was an original design by Sir Terence Conran. We have in here a cigarette card.
Wow, it's a beautiful looking watch.
And it has an exhibition back with a bespoke rotor. And then of course we have the bespoke buckle, which includes the racing shoe from Golden Miller. In addition to that, it has 14 sapphires on the back. These are in the racing colours of Dorothy Paget, so mainly blue, 14 of them, and 4 of them are yellow.
At Cheltenham Racecourse, we've got a Golden Miller statue, and it's a pilgrimage for lots of racehorse owners and for the race goers. They go along and they touch the hoof of Golden Miller in the hope that it brings them luck. You'd like to think that the owners that have got this watch won't need to do that, because they'll have that hoof, the real one, on their wrist. Expressed that we were a little bit nervous about how, the scientific elements of producing it, but the finished product is hard to better. It's a really, really fantastic, beautiful looking watch. And I've no doubt whatsoever anybody who gets to own one of these is going to be incredibly proud of it, probably for the rest of their lives.